Hi there, and welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're just going to do a little side jaunt with another small little mini collection that I have, much like the calendars that I showed the other day. I came across this little bit, and it doesn't really pertain to much else. It's since I'd gone over my 45s and my 12-inch records, I thought that this little, like I said, kind of like a mini collection, deserved a video all its own. There were plenty of things that come out for every record to promote an album. There's die cuts, there's inflatables, there's, pop-up, stand-up things. There's all sorts of stuff that come out. But the most typical thing that came out with records in the 70s and through the 80s was promo flats, is what they call them. And it was basically just the same size as the LP, 12 by 12, and it would have a picture on the front, sometimes on the back, and it would be used to just put up all over to poster the place. They'd get posters, they'd get these, and they'd do their own displays. Sometimes the record stores would have like a diagram to go over that they had to adhere to promote and display for the album. Other times you could cut it up, you could do whatever you wanted to do to make a go of it. So these were kind of obscure and fun to get, just like the posters were, just from whenever. Now, I'm sure there are some for Rumors, probably for the Fleetwood Mac album, but this is the first one that I have for Fleetwood Mac. And even though it doesn't have anything anywhere on the side, it's definitely from 1979, 1980, I should say. Probably even Tusk had them as well. This one does not have anything on the back, and it also does not have any hack mark, but I'm confident that it is a legitimate 1980 promo flat used for display in record stores. The next one I have up would be for Mirage, as well as there probably being the cover of Mirage. They had these in different colors. It looks like this might have been attached to something else. So it could have been folded up, might have been the cover. It's hard to say. This one as well does not have anything anywhere that it came from, but this is definitely a 1982 Mirage promo flat. Missed Stevie because I have Stevie and Fleetwood Mac separate, but before Mirage would have been the Belladonna one. Now this one, even though I've had it for some time, this could have been used with one of the first reissues. I think I've had it longer than that. I can't remember when the first reissue came out, but this one feels kind of new. But it's kind of yellowed on the back, so it could be a 1981 issued promo flat. It too does not have any half mark. We don't have those yet, but it is 12 by 12 and clearly, a thick cardboard used, to put up on the wall. This might have come out during, I bet you, because like I said, I've had this for quite a few years, and I can't think of any reissues. I bet you this probably might have come out with Time Space. I would imagine that they could have very well have released a bunch of the album covers so that around Time Space, possibly, they could have put Belladonna, Wild Heart, Rock a Little, just to show the different albums. That could maybe be a point, because it doesn't seem that old, but it's not that new as a current LP flat. Next up, we have one for the Wild Heart. It's really cool also because there was this die cut, just her name and the heart shape. It's about maybe this long, about this tall, about this tall. Really nice. I have it with a poster, framed with a poster. But in addition to that, there's this one, and then there's also the cover of the album, and another one I'm about to show you. And this one as well has no marketing or anything on it, but definitely a vintage 1982, 83 promotional flat. This one, though, it looks like it's been cut down, and this is on very thick cardboard, which is why I believe it to be real. This also could have been possibly, though I don't think so, This could have been a divider card, which or divider in the albums, but it just doesn't seem right. I think this was a promo flat, mostly just because it has her name on the front and back, but it does not show Wild Heart. But it also is not the cover for Stand Back, because it would say that. So it looks just like the promo for the 12-inch Stand Back that I have, but it says neither Wild Heart nor Stand Back. So I would just imagine that it is promo material for the Wild Heart album. And being as it's two-sided, you could have put up this side with another picture over the poster, or you could have put up this side. But it does appear possibly cut. It just seems a little uneven. Well, not really. But it does also still have not the hack that I'll show you on some of them, but next up, we have one for Christine McVie for her solo album. Now, this one here has the first little nuance of what I call a hack mark, but you'll see again in a second what I do mean by them. This I definitely believe to be the 1984 promo flat for Christine McVie's solo record. But finally, I can show you. Normally, what they do say is they'll say a whole bunch of stuff down here at the bottom. And that's what I like to see on my stuff. I like what I call the hacks on there. Just so I know I know this legitimate stuff that got used. I'm surprised these weren't double-sided. I imagined that they had these ones, and they could have had ones that said just his name and the album, kind of like the back of Stevie's one here, like this one, possibly. But for Lindsey Buckingham's Go Insane, definitely what was sent out, again, to the record stores to put up. And they would send a bunch of them. Like these ones, I just happen to have a few, but you could, they would fan them out, or they make their displays or something with them. So, same here for Rock a Little. Now, this one's really nice because, again, it has the portion down here, promotional. So you could put a whole bunch of this side up, or you could put a whole bunch of this side up, which is really cool looking. And that's why it's kind of fun to have these too, is because some of the backs are just kind of unique. I like that Mirage one because even though it just says Mirage, it's a different kind of like a raspberry color. The font's a little bit different, and it looks cool. It's just a different piece of marketing material for the items. So I really like having this kind of stuff for that reason. So that's Rock a Little. For 1987's Tango on the Night. Whole bunch for this side. Used for promotional use only. Yep. Then on the back, some of the singles. So I imagine there's a whole bunch of this side up because they really want to sell the singles. And then this portion up with the photo. Again, I like this one for the green, all the green background. These ones I remember getting in person, and I had quite the handful at one time. These people had done, this record store had done a very elaborate display for Other Side of the Mirror, and they had stapled them all in the middle, and they kind of like almost 3D'd it or something like that. Like they had cut them out and stapled them. It was a really neat display that they had in that store. And I asked for some when the display came down. This was in Santa Cruz, California. And they gave me a handful. Some were all torn and ripped. But then others, I've saved the best. I've given a lot of them away over the years. But I still have a couple. And I try to save at least two so that I have one that has the front, one that has the back portion. And again, that one is so cool just for that font like that. So you would have the front and the back display. Because, I mean, this really stands out too. I mean, the picture does. But, I mean, that big red font, if you're coming into a record store, that's really going to pop. So they would send out these things again to try and grab as much attention as possible on the walls or wherever they'd put them. For Behind the Mask, and 90% of them album flats, they're called that because it is always obviously the album cover. It seems kind of dumb to say, to reiterate, but then on the back, like I said, they would feature a single, or they would just have their name in really big, something bright or something to try to be eye-catching. It was unusual. Again, that's why I'm still not 100% sure about that Stevie Nicks one. This one here, because it's just weird that it's not the cover, and it's weird that I don't have anything that has the cover. Not that there wasn't, but I just think it's kind of odd. And this is the back of the Behind the Mask. A little bit more subtle, but still very attractive. Definitely stays in the theme, in the colors and everything like that. The aesthetic. I really like this one. Time Space, pardon me. These I remember getting in person as well. My local Tower Records. So they'd have them displayed one side, some decoration or something like that. So, and then I think, let's see, where did I lose? I think that Behind the Mask didn't say anything on the back of it. But Other Side of the Mirror had the mark, which was really cool. It said Tango had it. Rock a Little had it. Yeah. But ironically, this one does not. Time Space had it here. Then this one came out for Lindsay's Out of the Cradle. Love that picture. Stevie for Street Angel. Mark here. This one was really nice too on the back. I liked all the swirly. The Dance. Mark out down here. Trouble in Shangri-La. This one was kind of pretty because it initially it hadn't come out on album. It had only been on CD, cassette, but there was no vinyl. So getting this as a 12 by 12 was really cool to have. There was a poster too. There's a poster of this and the photo on the back. This one was hard to get. It would say this poster in its format had the date and when the album came out. But the standard poster that came out was this picture, but in the same colors, not muted like this, with no information. But I preferred this picture more, and this poster for Trouble in Shangri-La is harder to get. And these are somewhat easy to get, but for promotional, what they would have put up with these poster-wise, this one's harder to find than this poster. Cool thing about this LP flat is that it has the part like I tell you on the back, but it's hard to tell. But there's a real kind of a a golden hue tint to it. You can kind of see a kind of a shine, which is very pretty on the back. Has like this iridescent when you look at it, and then you just tilt it right, and it just starts to shine a little bit all over. It's very pretty. So that was really a nice find because, you know, having that kind of 12 by 12 shape, it looked like the album. I had it up for a while, and people were like, "Oh my god, that came out on vinyl," and I'm like, "No, I wish." Now, luckily, we have it like that, but initially, no. We had, let's see, I don't think we had anything up until, I think there's one for that I'm missing for the box set, and I'm 99% sure that there's also one I'm missing for the 1988 greatest hits that I believe I've seen. So both the 88 greatest hits and then the 25 years of Fleetwood Mac, I think each of those have a LP flat as well. And then these came out, which is really cool, for Say You Will. And you could see that they're perforated, I think is the right word here. So you could choose. You could put it like this, or you could tear it apart. And then on the back, you had this. So multiple options. And I had a handful of these as well so that you could, you know, so they had a lot to work with for this display here. And then, of course, the hack is on here. But these are hard to come by torn apart. So if you get one that's, you know, the fold out like this one is really nice to have. I've seen them, you know, just one piece or the other piece separate on eBay. And if you got them, if you want to display them like that, it's fine. It's just, it's cool that it's not been torn apart yet. It's not a big deal, but. And again, not being out on vinyl at the time, it just looked really cool having this on a 12 by 12 image like this to put up as evidenced by the tape that's on it. Another nice surprise was getting these in, of course, this did come out on vinyl, but this was just such an attractive photo. And then I did have this up on the back for quite some time. This was 2007's Crystal Visions. 2007, right? Because this was such a cool picture. So I've had this up for quite some time because I always thought that was such a unique photo. I like that one. Then I do believe there is one for 24 karat gold. I've actually never gotten that one. And then even though this says, you know, the little letters here, these are still technically promo flats. It's just they got signed. Also considered promo flats are the ones when the artists, oftentimes when they have a pre-order and you can purchase signed items, you know, the signed album covers or signed inserts or what have you. For every artist that will just sign an extra cover because it's considered a unit, which kind of false sales. That if they sign the album cover, even though there's no record in it, it's considered another sale, which is really weird. But most artists will just copy the cover and slip that in, so you know you can still use your jacket for your record, but then you have this, you know, extra piece that you can either just slip in with the record or frame it as it is. And for Lindsay, this came out, and I had shown this in another video how these were numbered. So when you pre-ordered his album, you got assigned, they call it an insert, but it's actually not an insert, it's a promo flat. So again, what would have been sent to record stores, there's no hack mark on this because they're the same, but they're kind of different. And that's evidenced by the last one that I have, which was the one that came out for Lindsay's solo anthology. This one came in a really nice, you know, they pre-packaged it. I mean, it's so nice it came like this. I don't have the heart to undo it. I'd really like to know if something's on the back, but I highly doubt it. But much like the one that was for Out of the Cradle, it could be the back it could be this is an old Out of the Cradle promo flat, but I don't think there's that information on the front or the back. Let's see, compare it. Yeah, no, it's a little bit just different colors. And a little bit, no, it's exactly the same size, but there's more of a border on this one. But yeah. So yeah, so that's it for that. Like I said, just an odd little collection of them. I remember having some, and then a friend of mine had a lot more, and I just did not realize that they were something that were. I mean, I saw them all the time at stores and stuff like that, but then just getting a little pile of them was just kind of cool. Just those little extra particular things, and I keep most of them with the albums. As of late, I put them all together in kind of their own little envelope because they are kind of a separate little collection. So just thought I'd share that with you, just something odd and different. So hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you next time. Have a great night. Bye.